would like to introduce our next guests. We have Sachin Wadhawan, Vice President of Channel Sales at BigCommerce, and Alec Berkley, Director of Channel Sales at BigCommerce. Little fun fact about Sachin, says he can whistle to any song, so that's pretty impressive. You're not? Oh, I was hoping to see that. Fun fact about Alec, he writes and produces music out of his apartment in Hollywood. So that's also really cool. Sachin now has someone to whistle to. So, yeah. But yeah, without further ado, Sachin and Alec.
Thank you, thank you.
Check.
Yeah, maybe we should just skip the slides and just do a music performance. What do you guys think? Oh, wow. All right. Wasn't expecting that. Morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Karthik and DCKAP team for having us here. I'm so glad this is an in-person event and not another Zoom. I love work remote culture that's changing. I love working remote and having that hybrid experience, but I also love meeting people and being with people. So thank you all for everyone that traveled to be here in person. I know Karthik talked about the focus for a lot of you coming to this event is on growth, as well as competition and talent. We're going to use our session to zoom in on the competition side and really, especially competing in a post-pandemic era. I say post-pandemic, I'm hoping I don't see anybody wearing masks. I hope we are in post-pandemic and it stays this way, so let's just hope for that. We have a very simple agenda today, just focusing on 3 key items. We're going to give you some insights into B2B commerce trends that we as an e-commerce platform are seeing. Alec is then going to cover some of the success stories of other distributors like you that are using our platform and using it effectively to compete in their verticals. And then we're going to give you some insights into 3 key ways that you all can leverage to compete in this post-pandemic era. But before that, we'll do a quick introduction. My name is Sachin Wadhawan. I'm the Vice President of Channel Sales. I'm based in Austin, Texas. So Justin, we should meet up. And it's really amazing to be back here. Karthik talked about this is the 5th year. I think the Cleveland was the first or the second event that I presented. And interestingly, I presented on a very similar topic back then, which was how B2B and B2C is merging, right? What are some ways that B2C businesses are learning from B2B and B2B businesses are learning from B2C? So obviously the topic is very relevant. It's growing, it's evolving. But super excited to be here and presenting this content with you. And Alec?
Yep, nice to meet you guys. My name is Alec Berkley. Been in the e-commerce space since around 2015 when I was competitors with DCKAP, and now I've joined BigCommerce overseeing our B2B portfolio of strategic partners. So that encompasses DCKAP and all of the other partners that work with our B2B merchants and really trying to bring the best partners for our customers to create solutions for their customers to buy online.
Awesome. And you're going to play some background music while on this slide?
Try to whistle.
All right. All right, so let's get into the insights, right? This is, again, the intention here is to provide you value, data points, insights that you all can take back to your businesses and apply them to your business, right? So now we talked about pandemic, right? So we all know that B2C has grown a lot, right? Behaviors have changed, right? I think JR talked about, right, the highest amount of revenue you guys did in 2021, right? We all experienced that, right? We all experienced, I think we all can relate to, we probably shop more. We shop more online. We probably shop more on our mobile devices. I don't know how many of us had bought groceries online, but we were forced to buy groceries online because going to the grocery store was scary. I don't know if anybody remembers, even when we shopped online, all those boxes, Amazon boxes came to our front door and we had to spray them before we bring them inside, right, inside the house. So obviously we all experienced that firsthand, right? But what's relevant here is not just the B2C growth, is how much B2B is growing along with that. As a matter of fact, it's growing nearly 2x faster than B2C. If you just look at this research in terms of where businesses are investing in technology, its B2B is projected to be over 42% of total e-commerce platform spend by 2025, right? It's not just the brands and the B2C businesses that are investing in technology, it's the B2B businesses that are investing even more in their technology spend. And why are they investing that much in technology? It's because when you ask the consumer, the buyer, the purchaser, is that they expect similar shopping experience on a B2C site as on a B2B site, right? So think about all of your buyers that purchase from you, right? Now imagine their personal lives. Are they B2C consumers? Are they shopping on mobile devices? Are they shopping on websites? Are they maybe shopping on social commerce, right? Are any of them, purchasing through TikTok and Instagram and all of that, right? When they bring that experience to engaging with you and your business, they expect that similar experience on B2B as well. So when you survey, and Gartner did this survey around those same buyers, what creates loyalty for those buyers? Why do they keep going back to the same business to buy, right? Of course, in distribution, you've got long-term relationships, so you have that retained buyer, but attracting new buyers, right? So what the survey says that 54% of respondents say that the purchase experience, the experience of purchasing that product from the distributor, from the brand, is the number one driver for that loyalty, why they would go back, right? And then when you ask, what was about that experience that was most relevant to you, right? And 65% of them say it was about the self-serve. It's the self-education. I think we all can relate to that, right? Like before, even when we're buying products, we want to learn about the product, right? We want to have our own experience in exploring, read reviews, watch product, specs and videos and things like that. And that's exactly what the survey is saying, that customers want to do that before they call the sales rep and place an order, right? So those expectations are continuously evolving and changing, right? And when you look at why businesses are losing those customers, right? In this survey, 90% of the B2B buyers would actually turn to a competitor, right? If that experience wasn't met, right? This is where the competition comes in. Do you have competitors that are not delivering the experience that their buyers expect? And if they are not, those are buyers that you can bring to your business, right? So what are you doing to attract those buyers, and how are you attracting them is kind of what we're talking about here. And here's the interesting thing. It's not just about retaining your existing buyers, attracting net new buyers, but 87% of these buyers would actually pay more, according to this study, if that experience was met. So you're not just retaining and growing the number of buyers, but you're also growing revenue from the existing buyers because they're willing to pay more if they have the right experience. So we know e-commerce is changing. Where is it going, right? We just talked about, pandemic, B2C experience is changing, right? I don't even know how many of us knew what buy now, pay later was 2 years ago, right? So there's new trends coming. I don't know how many of you know NFTs and crypto, and so there's a lot evolving. But what's interesting is what's not changing is the complexity of B2B commerce, right? Your business, the way buying behavior and the purchasing behavior, right? That still continues to be complex and will continue to be complex, right? So the challenge a lot of our customers have is how do you balance managing that complexity while still enhancing and changing that experience of how your buyers interact with you, engage with you online. Now, one of the things we often hear a lot, and I wanted to make sure that this group understands our point of view, is this trend around B2B, B2C merging, right? So we see a lot of B2C businesses, right, that have grown so much over time that they're starting to sell to wholesale distributors. So they're essentially converging from B2C to now B2B, and they become hybrid, right? Then, of course, we see manufacturers that maybe take some portion of their product line and go direct to consumer, right? So at that time, they become D2C and B2C. And then we see a lot of B2B businesses, even distributors, and I think we're talking to some of them, where for certain product lines, they want to make that available to consumers. I know Halloween's coming up. One of our customers that is a distributor for fire stations. So they sell equipment and things like that. Just around Halloween, they would make the hard hats, the fireman hard hats available, because that's apparently a very popular product that people want to buy for their Halloween costumes, right? And they sell out, right? But they only take a certain products that you don't have to be an authorized buyer for those hard hats for a B2C. So again, that's a good example of a B2B business now acting for a short time as B2C, right? So again, these business models are merging and they'll continue to merge. So with that, I'll pass it on to Alec to talk about some customer successes.
All right. United Aqua Group, they are the largest association of replacement pool part distributing to the US. So they came to BigCommerce without an e-commerce platform. They had all of their various replacement pool contracting customers call them on the phone, reconcile invoices, looking for products, print catalogs. I think they have almost 1 million different parts in their catalog, so they had to use a PIM first before actually getting all of the data scrubbed and ready to get to the website. And then at that point, really the sales just kind of skyrocketed, because you think of what they were doing before, still as the largest distributor of these parts. Once they removed that sort of barrier of, hey, you got to call someone to figure out if this is available, the numbers kind of speak for themselves. And then the other part, outside of just increasing the sales alone just by offering these millions of replacement parts online, were that the efficiencies in self-service. And they had actually integrated this at first with their Microsoft ERP, and then they didn't like some of the things from the implementation on the ERP side. So they kept BigCommerce and actually moved to NetSuite. So they were able to kind of keep that existing front end and that whole experience and product data and management, and switch out their back end, which I thought was really interesting as well, which they did later on. Tektran. So Tektran is actually a manufacturer. They also sell directly if you go to the website. I don't know what normal consumer would buy these parts. I believe they're also using some version of Epicor. And ultimately for them, the big win was the quick order pad, because users will purchase hundreds of line items, and they wanted to just be able to upload a sheet. So they would basically provide their customers spreadsheets of their previous orders. They're able to go in, upload it, check out within a minute, and then the reordering and the repurchasing that they're able to get was ultimately led to these increases in revenue, just because they're able to place orders more quickly, and that was ultimately the win. And of course, they've integrated all those orders with their back end. Casey's Distributing, if you go to that website, you'll see it's all just login for pricing. They sell to tons of different retailers, like thousands of different retailers. So being able to segment those thousands of different retailers, offer different pricing, content, and still kind of have that totally B2C like experience for them, and with the logos and everything on the blank items. For example, if I want to log in as say Texas A&M, I just want to see Texas A&M on the homepage, right? So you're able to actually personalize that experience to that particular brand, even if it's not a separate website. It's within the same website behind the login. You can totally, create that personalized experience. And some of the things that Sachin was talking about earlier, that purchasing experience matters, and that personalization matters now. And it's not just having a website. It's now personalizing that website to your customers and getting that loyalty and repeat without even having to talk to them at all, right? And that's self-service, and that's changing the way that their sales reps are able to now acquire more accounts as well. So I think that's our last customer success. So I'll pass it over to Sachin here to talk about the competition side of this.
Thanks, Alec. Lots of other case studies and customer examples. We have thousands of distributors on our platform. Just wanted to pick a few of them to see if they resonate with the audience and that you can relate to them. So based on all those customers that are effectively selling online, there are 3 key ways that we wanted to share that we have observed patterns around how they are competing more effectively, right? One is they're investing in the right digital infrastructure, right? There's different components of that digital infrastructure that we want to talk about. They're also building self-serve buyer experiences, right? So again, based on the feedback that customers are saying, that before they make the call to the sales team, right, they do want to self-learn, self-educate, self-discover the products. So that's another way that a lot of our distributors are competing effectively. And then the third one really kind of expands beyond. The first two really focus on what can you do online with your own online presence, right? The third one takes you to, well, not all your buyers or potential buyers are coming to your website, right? They're also shopping elsewhere. And do you have a presence where they are looking and shopping versus your competition? And if they do purchase in those channels, how are you bringing those orders back in, right? So I'll go into all three of those items one by one. On the first one, I think this is really the testament to why Alec and I are here at the DCKAP event, because the tight integration in their product lines and our platforms is really the secret sauce to this success, right? So if you're going to grow your experience for your buyers better online, right, you better have more rich product information, right? Because you can't just hand them the product catalog that you got from the manufacturer. You have to take all that information, move it online. It has to be searchable. It has to be organized and managed in a way that consumers want to experience that catalog versus a print catalog. So there's a lot of digitization of product catalog and connectivity to other systems that you need, and this is where the DCKAP PIM plays a big part in it, right? And then you have the source of truth. Again, when a buyer is calling the sales rep, that sales rep has immediate access to the back-end ERP, right? Whatever the buyer is asking, they can look up, provide that information. But when that buyer is doing their own self-education on the website, they don't have access to that ERP, right? So you have to bring that same experience through a tight integration into the ERP and back-end systems, and that's where the DCKAP integrator plays a big role in that to make sure the real-time data is available. And then, of course, e-commerce platform, right? You have to have the right technology to enable those experiences, to enable a checkout experience that's specific to a B2B buyer versus a B2C buyer. And these are the three pieces of the puzzle that really make up for that digital infrastructure that we see a lot of our joint customers and prospects are investing in. And then when you think about the self-serve buyer experience, right, you kind of start the journey from left to right, right? We already talked about online product catalogs, right? They have to be not just a replica of the physical catalogs, but even more than that. There's probably metadata that's more relevant for online viewing and searching that may not be available from the manufacturer, right? Like reviews and things like that. And then, all of this content's got to be mobile and tablet friendly. I don't know how many of us have gone to a B2B site and there was a form that you're trying to fill out, but you're trying to squeeze in on your device to make that form smaller, but it doesn't. And it's a frustrating experience when you just take the offline experience to online without accounting for the screen size, the bandwidth, and things like that, right? So you have to make sure that self-buyer experience is mobile, tablet friendly. And I know we're going to hear from Clevu about search. Search for B2B is business critical, right? Because it's not, we know none of our buyers are coming to our website and it's like, oh, Saturday morning, I'll just browse the catalog and see what's there. No, they are coming with a purpose, right? They have very specific requirement. They know what they want, but that search is complex, right? They're looking for a SKU number, a model number, and we can't get that search wrong. It's not like maybe they wanted to buy a yellow shirt and they only saw a pink shirt and they'll buy the pink one, right? They have specific requirements, so search is really critical, and I know we'll hear more in that session. And then you take payments, totally different animal, right? With your existing buying cycle, it's a rather simpler arrangement, right? You've got relationships, long-term relationships with these buyers, but the moment you start to bring that experience online, right? They may be comfortable spending using their credit card. They may want to do buy now, pay later. They may want to apply for capital, right, in the checkout process, right, and make their payment through the capital they got from a banking institution, right? So bringing the right experience for payment that is catering to that online buyer is relevant. And then again, when somebody's on a call with a sales rep, they can ask questions, right? If they are stuck, they can get guidance. But that online buyer, right, doesn't have any of that. They just have product information. So this is where the chats or reviews or the bots can really help. You have to think about how that experience is, where are they getting stuck, and how can you unstuck from that experience. Now, personalization is the last one here, but I believe really, really relevant and important. I often hear that most people think personalization is really relevant for B2C, right? It's when you're buying apparel, if this shoe matches with this shirt. But personalization is only as effective you know about that buyer, right? In B2C, the depth of buyer information is not that deep, right? Because it's B2C businesses focus more on larger volume of consumers, but the relationships don't go that deep. Whereas on the B2B side, you've got 10, 15 years of experience with these buyers. Imagine if all that data, all that insight, all their behavior could be leveraged in an online experience, and their experience could be very tailored to them, right? Alec talked about Texas A&M, right? If you have buyers, if there's 5 reps from buyers from the same company and they come to your website, why can't the entire website experience be completely tailored to them, right? With their logo, with their brand, with their messaging, with their products, right? They don't have to browse catalogs or product items that they never buy or never will buy, right? So again, all of that personalization can be really, really important and can benefit the self-buying experience. And then you can also move some of the offline buying experiences online, right? So could quote management and quote ordering move online? Yes, right? Could invoices, reviewing invoices, managing invoices, making payments of those invoices, that can be easily moved online. Order management, purchase orders could be moved online. From a sales team standpoint, filling out trade professional applications, empowering your buyers to place orders on behalf of customers, right? So I'm a buyer, I'm at a customer site. Instead of telling that customer to go online and buy it, right? If I have tablet or a device, I can just log in and buy on their behalf, right? So again, all of these things can optimize that experience. So everything we talked about was how do you enable the same buyers or potentially new buyers to your business to have a better experience online. But like I said, these buyers may not only be searching for your product on your storefront, right, or on your sites. What if they're on Walmart? What if they're on Wish? What if they're on other B2B focused marketplaces? I think for many of you, there are probably niche marketplaces that other people don't even know exist, right? Last year, we acquired a company called Feedonomics, which is a feed optimization technology, and it's e-commerce independent, right? So we have customers of Feedonomics that use Magento, that use Shopify, that use other technologies, e-commerce technologies, but the reason they're using Feedonomics is because it's really challenging for them to manage the growing number of channels that are relevant for them. And when you have a channel strategy, it's not about just pumping your products into all the channels, because guess what? That same product that needs to be published in eBay requires very different characteristics and attributes when it needs to be published on Walmart.com or Target Plus, right? So the business has to figure out what all these marketplaces want, and that creates complexity around how many attributes you're managing per product, which is where the PIM comes into place, right? But Feedonomics optimizes all that. Not just listing, but as orders get transacted through all these channels, how do those orders flow back into your ERP, right? So you have a consistent, streamlined view of order volume and total revenue. So again, thinking about omni-channel strategy is also the way to compete, because if your competition is in those channels, then your buyers are going to that competition and not coming to you, right? So you gotta have your presence online and you gotta be wherever your buyers are. So that concludes the 3 key ways. Hopefully it's insightful. You can take some of that away back to your business. I was told by my employer that if we don't talk about BigCommerce, I can't expense my hotel, so I have to tell you about BigCommerce just very quickly. I think most of you already know who BigCommerce is, but we're an enterprise, modern e-commerce platform. What's relevant to this audience is we serve customers in over 150 countries. We have 68,000 customers, but 10,000 plus customers that are using us for B2B functionality, right? So we see a lot of hybrid businesses, as I talked about. And we have a huge ecosystem of tech and agency partners. And again, some of those partners are represented here. And then lastly, what's unique about us, right, compared to other e-commerce platforms are two things I would highlight here is that we do both B2C and B2B on the same platform, right? That's really, really important because as your business grows and at some point you are changing the business model, maybe you're only doing B2B and you want to move to B2C, you should not have to look for another e-commerce platform to cater to that audience, right? You can do all of that on a single platform. And then we're also a leader in headless commerce. So I know Karthik talked about headless. It's not a new trend, but it's a growing trend that's applying to both B2C and B2B businesses, right? We see a lot of scenarios where B2B businesses want to have thousands of stores, not just one store, or maybe thousands of storefronts in different languages and different currencies for different sub-brands, right? So that headless plays a big part. Again, we're a key, very differentiated in the market with our approach to headless. So with that, that concludes our content, but we are here to answer any questions that you all have. Of course, we have a booth outside, so if anybody has any questions, come talk to us. Thing? All right, thanks everyone.